she's been working so hard to help build out this school, and she wakes up every morning at 6:30 and then gets ready to do this class, and she teaches a bunch of kids virtually. And like, we've gotten over 100 applications to join her Zoom call where she's just teaching kids how to Flutter. And she's like, Dad, I can't teach 100 kids on Zoom Flutter. We need to come up with another solution.
So, hi everyone, welcome to another podcast. And today I have a very special guest with me, and she is Sumay. Sumay is just 12 years old, and I found her on Twitter. And trust me, she has a lot more things to share. Without wasting any time, we will ask Sumay about it. So, hi Sumay, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Puan. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Tell me, what you have been doing and starting from your age as well, because a lot of people will think that I am just kidding, but it's actually, if they are watching it right now, they can see that what I'm saying is actually correct. And yeah, so tell us about yourself and what you do.
So, I'm Sumay and I'm 12 years old, and I'm the CEO and co founder of Weequal School, which is a project based, self directed virtual learning platform where kids take their unique strengths and interests to create projects to share with the world. And so currently, what I'm mostly working on is trying to scale our solution and and put it into a Flutter web app.
Awesome. So
Um,
your main area of interest is Flutter. Is that correct?
yeah, and but it's also just how can we take, because a lot of what we're doing is manual, and so automating it and scaling it so we can reach more kids and to help them take what they're interested in and actually share it with the world, because we find that that gets them really excited, and when they're actually sharing it with people, and then they're getting feedback, and then they're improving on what they're doing.
I don't even remember what I was doing when I was 12. But yeah, I'm very much sure that I was not doing anything creative at all. I was just playing somewhere. So I just want to know, like, how did you thought about, starting programming, or like what made you start programming, or what's about the academic stuff which you are doing along with it?
Well, I first started programming in Scratch, I think when I was 7. And then my parents wanted me to try, was introducing me to some new programming language. And so the first one I really started getting into was Python. And I started a code academy, and I was teaching other kids, mostly Isla's friends, who's my sister, and how to do Python. And so then we started. Our family has always been doing a lot of startups, so we had a startup called We Grow Me, and we were trying to build an app. So Wade Young, our CTO, started learning Flutter and building out an app, and so when I started picking up some things from him, but when we started with Weequal School, I started digging more into Flutter and looking on YouTube and learning Flutter and that. And when I looked at your channel, I was like, I've actually used some of these videos to help teach myself Flutter. So,
That's
mhm.
pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So that means that you have been doing programming for some years now, like maybe Python, something else. So this particular journey, how it's been so far? Like, are you enjoying programming, or you feel that there is like something which you don't like?
Yeah, I think with programming, it's really cool because you can scale your solution with pretty much nothing. Like you just go on your computer, write a few lines
Mhm.
of code, and then you can try to build a solution to make the world a better place. And it doesn't really you don't have to have that much to start getting into it, and learning Flutter, for example. And I think it's just a very valuable tool to try to help take your ideas and actually create something. And so that, I think that's just been really exciting for me to just see how that can just come together. In terms of things that I don't like, I think there's some things that are hard, like, debugging, but it's all part of the process.
Yes, exactly. So, what about your schooling? Like, are you studying somewhere, or it's just that you are just now totally into programming and you don't care about the schooling at all?
Well, what I'm doing right now, I'm homeschooled, and I think the
Okay.
reason why we started homeschooling was to keep doing what we're doing, and I think I really like doing that because for example, I can just get done with learning math, and I can try to do that as effectively as possible. And then once I'm done, I still have a lot of the day left, so I can start doing programming. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And
Yes.
I learn and the virtual school, I it's like you're learning about things that you're passionate about. So in terms of writing, like I'll just take something that I'm interested in, and then I'll like write an article about it, and that helps me learn about whatever I am learning about, and I can just write about it. For example, 3D printing, which is a new technology for additive manufacturing. We got a couple 3D printers, and I was really interested in it and playing around with it. And so I wrote a bunch of articles about it. And not only that, but I was really excited about what I was doing because it was my interest, which helped me learn even faster. Which is one of the principles of the virtual school we're starting, is like, if you're interested in something and you're learning about it, you're going to be learning a lot faster. In terms of, I think, schooling, we have a very unique approach, but it's a lot about like, how can you not only just learn, but learn how to learn.
Yeah,
um,
awesome, amazing. I mean, that's something which I definitely never thought about when I was 12. When you are going to school, probably even if you are doing homeschool or something, then also it's kind of very difficult to maintain that balance, right? That you have to like distribute your time properly so that you can focus on like the extra things which you want to do and the curriculum stuff which you have to follow, right? So do you find it difficult, or you feel that, oh, it's like a part of it, so I don't like really think that it's different from what I do?
well, I think one of the things is you're learning through the things that you want to do. And in terms of kind of balancing just learning things like math, it's
Hmm.
also a lot of what we do at We Equal School is teaching to problems, not tools. So, for example, let's say I learn a math concept. I'll be thinking about like, how
Hmm.
can I actually use this maybe in my coding? Like, how can I
Yeah.
maybe if we have something where like we want to measure how good a student is doing, that might require some math and taking a bunch of different factors and calculating like a score perhaps. And so I guess with using that, it's like I don't I think trying to mix them together and not really
Hmm.
considering them as separate things. And so I feel like I'm learning 10 times faster because I'm actually doing real things
Yeah.
with what I'm learning, because I retain it a lot better. It's not like, okay, well, I know how to do this math concept, but I haven't actually tried using it. But it's actually like I know this, but I also know how I actually applied it in my Flutter app, for example.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When I was, like studying maths or physics and all these subjects, the first question which always, used to disturb me was like, where I'm using it, right? Like, why I'm even studying it, because I didn't know, like, when I can use it and what is the usage of it in real life, right? But now, when it came to this particular industry that I have been doing programming, I have to use a lot of maths logic sometimes, and sometimes even I have to like go back and study most of the things because I don't remember now. So That's pretty awesome that you have realized it very soon that this can be really helpful for you, and as you mentioned that it is helping you like in maybe learning 10 times faster than how others would be learning at the same time. So tell me, which is your favorite subject as of now? Is it maths?
I think it kind of changes over time because it's a lot of what we is like we have a bunch of demo days
Hmm.
where students learn about certain topics, and a lot of it is to kind of expand what they know, because a lot of the time they would come in, we would ask them what they were interested in, and they would
Yeah.
be like Minecraft, and a lot of they don't really know enough about the world to know what they're interested in. And so I guess that changes a lot based on like what I learn about the world, and yeah. So how did you get started with Flutter?
I was very bad at programming at first, right? So my favorite subject has been mathematics, and it's like mathematics since beginning. I used to love mathematics, and still, I think like I love to solve problems of maths. So that's how I started, and I never thought that I'll like become a software developer or something like that. I had a huge interest in mobiles and the technology, right? Like when I was in college, even before that, Android phones came into the market, and the apps were something which I used to feel like this is something which I want to build someday, but I didn't know like what is the concept behind it and how I can do that. So I'll tell you, like I was kind of doing something related to medicines, right? I used to work in a pharma store where I used to sell medicines as well. So I wanted to do something in that industry because that was of my interest at that time. But suddenly, I don't know what happened. Suddenly, things changed, and I had interest in computers, but I wasn't very good with it. Like I didn't have any computer at my home, so I used to go to cafes and browse some things. Like that at that time, the one only social media which I knew was Orkut. If you have ever heard about it, I think you were not even born when it was there, probably. But yeah, I mean, at that time, those were the things which we used to do a little bit. But then something came, and when I went to the college, I chose a computer science degree, and then I kind of it made me feel like, okay, I can do it. Probably I should try it at least. So then I started doing Android app development. So that's how it started. Like it was not that great initially, but with time I started making something, and when I started making something, it started feeling good that okay, something, if when you make something and it actually works, then you feel very happy. It can be any small thing, but it makes you happy that you can build something, right? Which can be used by others as well. So that was my area of interest, that okay, this is nice. So Android app development I did for many years, and then I was looking for more solutions, and I'm kind of a guy who is like kind of experimenting with a lot of stuff here and there, like new languages, new framework, new tools. So I was dealing with another framework called Xamarin, if you have heard about it, right? It's another way of writing cross platform apps, right? So it's been acquired by Microsoft. So that's what I was exploring, and I was looking for a better solution. Then Flutter came into the picture. I found it somewhere that this is something which is in a very very early stage, but it looks promising. And yeah, so that was the time, I guess it was 4 years back or even more than that. So that's when I heard about Flutter, and I started doing a lot of Flutter stuff. So since we are talking about Flutter, you tell me, how did you start with Flutter, and like why Flutter?
Well, so this was we had an app building demo day where the students learning Flutter were sharing their apps, and the guest speaker was one of my dad's friends, Nathan Denherder, and he was the one who first introduced us to Flutter because he was starting his own startup called Ardley, and so when we and he was building an app with Flutter, and so when we wanted to to build an app, he was like, okay, you guys should use Flutter. So that's how we first started. That's how we were introduced to it. But how we kind of first started using it was as I mentioned before, we had a lot of different startups. Like my sister, she a few years ago, she wanted to start a girls' health app where girls could try to
Wow.
be more healthy, and so I think she was using Xcode at the time, but we were also doing a lot of a lot of a lot of different apps and using Flutter for it. And so one thing that we're doing is for our web app that we're building for Weequal School, where we have a Flutter app to help kids build Flutter apps. And so that's something that's I think is really cool, is that you can just use this to actually teach people how to use Flutter. And so our first, we call them classrooms, and it's kind of like where you can go in, and then you have a bunch of resources and project ideas, and you can talk with other students that are also doing it. And so we just got the web app up, I think a couple days ago, on weequal.app.
Tell me more about this Weequil thing, because a lot of people might be interesting that you are running a company called Weequil, right? If I'm not wrong, that you are the CEO. So tell me more about it, and then we will go back to how did you learn Flutter and all that stuff, right? Like what was the journey, roadmap, or kind of stuff.
Well, so Weequal is the overall brand, and Weequal School, which I'm running, is a branch within that. And Weequal first started out as my dad was writing a marriage blog, and it was East West Equilibrium because my mom's from China, and so I mean the name was very long, so and you can see Weequal.com in that, and so Weequal.com, and then there's also Weequal.school. And so it was, so since East West Equilibrium was kind of long, we shortened it to Weequal, and it's kind of the philosophy of basically everything that we do. And so for Weequal.school, it was basically kind of taking the philosophy of Weequal and applying it to learning. And so there's also Weequal Capital, and Weequal Capital is for like investing. And there's also the Weequal Combinator, where we fund startups, and a lot of the and also we can make it so that kids at Weequal School can make a like a startup and then put it in Weequal and go to Weequal Combinator. So they kind of feed into everything. So that's kind of what Weequal is. And so, but for Weequal.school, we're basically taking what we're doing with the young people in our virtual school and trying to scale that with a Flutter app and web app. And that's the Weequal.app. And kind of the goal there is to make it so that kids can learn more about what they actually are interested in, because they don't always know. They don't always know that Flutter exists, or like that they're interested in 3D printing, because they a lot of the time they don't really know that those things are there. So we're trying to build out a self-directed virtual learning platform where kids can kind of see all the classrooms. Right now we only have the Flutter apps classroom, and go there and learn more about it, connect with other kids that are interested in that, and just collaborate and make projects. And that's what we're doing with the virtual school, but we're also trying to scale it in the web app.
Awesome. The great part about it, what I got to know, is that you are learning yourself as well as others, so that they can also learn all the other kids who might be of your age or probably younger or elder than you. So that's a pretty awesome thing, and congratulations for starting that. It's a really wonderful initiative. You also run a YouTube channel, if I'm not wrong, right? So
Yeah.
So tell me more about it. Like, what made you start your own YouTube channel, and how it's going so far?
So yeah, well, we have two YouTube channels, one for Weequal and one for Weequal School. And a lot of it was, I mean, well, I'd always just been using YouTube to listen to music but also to learn Flutter. And a lot of what we do at Weequal School is like, if you make something, if you go through all the trouble of like writing an article, making a video, you should actually share it with people, because one, you're creating value for other people,
Yeah.
and also you can get feedback and improve on it. And and so when a lot first we it was mostly just writing articles, and then we would post that on our website. But now a lot of the young people at Weequal School are doing video projects.
Mm.
So we put those video projects on the Weequal School YouTube channel. But also in the Weequal School YouTube channel, I have a few videos where I teach Flutter.
Yeah.
So I have two playlists. One is just Flutter tutorials, which is more longer videos, and
Mm.
then Flutter widgets, where it's just a bunch of different widgets. Because I was having a lot of fun going through YouTube and seeing all these widgets, because it was really cool, because it expanded
Mm.
your knowledge of the possibilities of what you can do. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's this cool widget where I can do that. I didn't know I could do this. Now I can implement it into my app.
Amazing. I'm really amazed to see the understanding which you have about the things at such a age. And I cannot even like think that what I was doing at my time. But I just hope that people like you, or people who are currently looking to learn, can get some inspiration from you, that nothing is actually very tough or impossible, or you can get everything sorted if you want to get things done. And I mean, the way you mentioned that when you learn, if you are helping others as well, it will actually help you back, right? Because when you are sharing things, it is actually making you like understand things better, kind of, right? Even when you make a YouTube video, it's sometimes you also get to know, oh, this is not working, oh, maybe this is something which I am doing wrong. So there's always some learning, which I personally have also felt. So like, okay, by the way, I just want to mention that the links I'll provide in the description of our YouTube channel and the Weequal School and the app which she has built. So she has built a wonderful app which she has mentioned, and I haven't checked it yet, but I'll definitely check it out as well. So yeah, you can check it out. And I have watched her YouTube video as well, where there was one video which was about Flutter. That was really wonderful. Great job. And I'll suggest a lot of people to watch it, at least if you are learning Flutter. You started learning Flutter, that I got to know, but how did you learn it actually? Like, did you prefer to go to some particular like website, some apps you built, or how did you approached it?
So I first started out learning from Wei Jiang, our CTO, and he
Mm.
was a really big help in kind of introducing object-oriented programming, and kind of showing the concepts, and setting us up. He's really awesome. And but it's also kind of a funny story, where I was teaching my little sister Isla how to build Flutter, and also one of our neighbors, and they were just learning so fast, and they were just picking things up really quickly. And so I was kind of panicking, because I needed to learn more Flutter in order to have new things to teach them. And so I was searching all over YouTube and learning more things, learning these new widgets, learning these new concepts. And so a lot of it was not only that, because one of the things that we do in Weekly School is like, teaching is the best way to learn, because you have to reinforce your understanding of something in order to teach it to somebody else. And so by me teaching Isla and teaching our neighbor, and then more people started joining my classes, I think that really helped me in learning Flutter better, because I was teaching people and I was able to retain it better. And so I was also writing everything out. So I have if you go to coda.io/@sumay-mcphail/learning-flutter, I just wrote out everything, because I wanted to retain it for myself. So if I learned something about it, I didn't want to forget it. So I would write down, put a little paragraph about what it does, and then have a code block of just like, this is a simple way you could do it. Here's some properties on how you can kind of customize it for your app. And so I just built out this giant thing. But a lot of it was I had a lot of help from Way, and so I'm really thankful for that.
Awesome. So what's your main learning kind of, resource from where you learn? Is it YouTube? Is it some website, or like how you just approach it?
Well, I have a lot of different resources in terms of Flutter. Like your YouTube channel, I use for learning Flutter. I was looking back on your videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've watched some of these, and I think I don't really have a specific resource that I keep coming back to. That I really use by itself for everything. I think for math, I use Khan Academy. For history, I would mostly use Crash Course, but also in the front page of wequel.app, there's a Google sign-in, and I actually use one of your videos to build that. And so I think a lot of it is kind of going on Google, going on YouTube, searching up what you want, and then just finding the best people. And I would definitely say you're one of the top people teaching Flutter on YouTube.
Thank you. Right now, what are some of the challenges which you are facing with Flutter, or probably something which you are about to learn but haven't learned yet, or maybe some of the things which you would love to share about Flutter?
I think for a while I was a little bit intimidated by trying to do Flutter with Firebase, but I think it's also been I'm part of the Flutteristas group, and they've been really helpful in providing resources I can use, and just having it's just such a great community where you can just share like, I have this error, and then a bunch of people jump in. They're just like, oh yeah, I had this error too. This is how I fixed it. It's really amazing, and they've been just very supportive, and I'm very thankful to be a part of that. And yeah, so I think some things that I want to learn more about is definitely Firebase, and some more things I can use, like extensions that you can use for Flutter to do a lot of different things.
Pretty awesome. I am really excited that what you are building with it and what you will build next. So what's your schedule like? Like how you plan your day? Because many people, like, this is a pandemic time. It's very tough to, stay calm and do things, concentrate or things. So how you are right now doing things?
Yeah, I think this is one of the things I really enjoy about homeschooling, is that it's so flexible. If I'm just really feeling it to do Flutter, and I'm just like, I really want to code today, then I'll just go on like a 5-hour jam and just bang it out. In the mornings, Monday through Thursday, I do we at 7:30 we do a live stream, which is so where we kind of just talk about a bunch of different things, and that's Weekly Live, and and we do that live on Facebook. And so we just talk about different things. A lot of it is mostly relating to We Cool School. Like, this is our upcoming demo day. We're going to be sharing about this, and so that's the first thing that I usually do. And then we have Code Academy at 8:30, which is where I just teach a lot of the kids, some of the kids at We Cool School, how to do Flutter. And I think, and it's been really cool because they just kind of, they think about, well, what do I want to build, and that gets them really excited because, like, one of the students, he's really into soccer, so he's building a soccer app in Flutter to help other kids get better at soccer as well. And so it's like, and then that's something that really excites him, so he's going to be more motivated to try to make this app the best that he can. And so we have a demo day every Saturday at 2 p.m. where we have a topic every week. This week was history, and we did that yesterday. And so it's so then we also, like, go over, well, who wants to present a project, who has a project related to history, and then setting all that up and giving them a chance to try to present themselves and share what they're doing. There's just some scheduled things that I do, but then other than that, it's more like, what do I really want to do? What do I think would be the best use of my time right now? And so basically, I just run wecool.school, and then build wecool.app, and then kind of blog about things that I'm interested in.
What about playing and all those other things which is not related to computer and tech or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of this is kind of just how we can take things like just like playing outside and be really creative about it, and how we can maybe just collaborate with other young people in We Cool School
Yeah.
to, like, we have recess where a bunch of kids from the neighborhood who are doing We Cool School just come over, and they can just play with each other. And we're also thinking of doing like a Belagarth, which is a foam sword fighting, and like you can like make your own foam swords and make your own armor, and kind of being really creative on how you can just do things like just playing outside, because now kids can like learn about crafting and how you can make things. And also we do some like role play games where people are thinking about like my character, and it's like these are things that you would mostly just do for fun, and but it's like ways you can be really creative about it.
Kind of, you are also building a young army of coders, right? Like, who are probably
Yeah.
from your neighborhood. Some people may be a part of just the online visual school. So yeah, I mean, that's really amazing. So which brings me to this question, like, what exactly you are planning to do in your life, or kind of what are your goals, like, which you have thought, at least like for next few years, like what are your plans? And I have also like saw that somewhere that your dad is also helping you a lot, so I would like to know more about it, like, how he has been helping you in reaching to your goals, or what kind of stuff he's doing for you.
I think maybe in terms of like my goals, I think one of the things that we talk about is like, you should follow your interests. Let's say I'm really interested in a certain thing right now. It doesn't mean that that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And it's kind
Mm,
of like, you kind of just, if I'm really interested in something right now, I should go explore that and maybe create something out of that,
yeah.
and then wait until I'm next month I might be interested in something else, and then I can kind of follow that. I think there are certain things that I know that I definitely want to do. I know that
Mm,
I want to help people in a scalable way, which I think that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm helping people explore their interests and create in a way that potentially
Yeah.
thousands of young people could use. So yeah, I would say think about what I would say, like I want to think about what I want to do next, and how and 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 kind of the next step, but
Mm.
I don't think that um you can really plan the rest. I don't think you can really plan the rest of your life, because you don't know how things are going to
Yeah,
be 10 years from now. You don't know if you're going to be interested in the same things 10 years from now. You don't know
that's
if the
true.
world is even going to be the same. Like, the world's
Mm.
obviously not going to be the same 10 years from now. So
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
I actually believe the same, and I'm more like interested into some near goals rather than setting up a very kind of like what will happen after 20 years, 10 years, because we are in such time where we really don't know what will happen tomorrow. So it's
Yeah.
great that you are focusing on your present rather than just maybe focusing a lot about future, that what will happen and how things will go. But yes, if you are securing your present properly, if you are following your interest, I guess that's really really something which can make you happy, as well as it will be the right way or right thing to do. So yeah, like, and what about your dad, like how he has been helping you, and like what is his plans about you, and all those sort of things.
Kind of like that too. She's a very heads down, I want to build Flutter kids. And so she'll like forget to like go on Twitter or anything and see anything for like 2 days, and then she'll find out like that one of the top people at Google that helps to build Flutter is like talking about her, and she's like, "Dad, this person works at Google and runs the Flutter." I'm just like, what? She's been working so hard to help build out this school, and she wakes up every morning at 6:30 and then gets ready to do this class, and she teaches a bunch of kids virtually. And like, we've gotten over 100 applications to join her Zoom call where she's just teaching kids how to Flutter. And she's like, "Dad, I can't teach 100 kids on Zoom Flutter. We need to come up with another solution."
He is always been really just supportive of having me follow my interests, and he gives me a lot of freedom and empowers me to do the things that I'm interested in, and to create
Mm.
out of that. And so I think it's just been really empowering and supporting when it's like, well, and instead of just like, okay, well, you're going to do this today, it's like, well, what do you want to do today, and how can we make the most out of today, and the time
Mm.
that we have right now. And so he helped me to become really confident in myself, because when I created something, not only would he be supportive, but he would help me put it on a blog, and he would share it with other people. So
Mm.
it's kind of it's interesting, because we did a live talk about, like, I think it was how to be confident or something.
Mm.
And it's like, well, you can have people just say, you kind of need to have some outside influence saying, like, okay, because if your parents are always like, okay, good job,
Mm.
then that's great. But it's also, if you share it with other people, then it's like people actually appreciate what I'm doing. And he
Mm.
gave me that kind of opportunity to share it with other people, and that, I think, that helped me to become really confident, and made it so that I could kind of take a chance on myself by homeschooling, and thinking, like, well, even though this is not what people normally do, I believe that I can do this, and that's what I want to do for other kids. And I
Mm.
think that's what we're trying to do with We Equal School,
Awesome,
is
awesome.
providing that same thing. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, I'm like, when you're parents or when people around you helps you, in achieving your goals on, or at least, focusing on things which you actually want to do, then it actually creates a lot of opportunities as well, and you get a lot of inspiration from them, and kind of that support which you get actually brings the best out of you, and you also feel that okay, this is something which I should do to, to like justify what they have been doing for me. So that's pretty amazing, and I'm really really happy to hear it. So yeah, before I end this conversation, I want to ask you one last question, and that is, what will be your tips to the people who are watching this video right now? Right, like what are your tips or suggestions if someone is starting to learn how to code, or maybe someone wants to start their own startup, anything which you want to share?
Yeah, well, I think in terms of a startup, think about, well, what's a problem in the world that you want to solve, and I think the best thing to be is like, what is something that I face in my life that would be a lot better if there was a solution, and then try to get that solution. And that's one of the things that we do in Wequal School is we have Wequal Combinator, where we can help fund these startups and provide funding, give them a platform, and help them build their website. For developers who want to make a startup, I think that's a really good place to start, because you don't have to have capital to like buy a factory, and all
Yeah.
you need to do is just it is to think about what's something that I feel like I can provide to people, that I'm uniquely suited to to provide to people, and so how
Hmm.
can I build that into a platform? And um and yeah, I think one of the things that I did that I think people should try to do is, if you have identified the problem, you know it exists because you're facing it in your own life, and you've come up with a solution, you want to do it, um just kind of take a chance on yourself, kind of make a
Hmm.
calculated risk and say, I'm going to just spend a month and try to build this out, and maybe make a minimum viable product to see if other people
Hmm.
enjoy doing it. Yeah, even if your app doesn't take off, now you have that skill, but you've also just you've made friendships along the way. You've
Hmm.
kind of tried this out, and to give yourself freedom to fail, because you're not always going to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not always going to have, like, I know, I mean, I definitely agree with you. Like, our first videos were just, we turned the volume all the way high, and
Yeah.
it just hurt your ears to try to listen to, and to know that like, even if you don't have the best YouTube videos, you're going to learn from the experience of just trying to make one.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it starts. Everything starts like that only. When you start something, it's always very bad, then it becomes better, and the more you try, it gets better and better, and that's what life is all about. So the only thing which is important here is to try, is to at least, like, just do your best. Whatever will come out, that you don't have to worry about, and if that's sort of your interest as well, then it's a really good thing to try it out. And I think when you have a passion for something, nothing can stop you, and at the end you will find your way. So yeah, I mean, those are all questions, and I'm really really amazed to see that you have like kind of all the things already in your mind. I don't even think that you need any kind of consultancy from someone to do something. But yeah, I mean, the way you have been planning things, it's really good. The way you have been learning and helping others is amazing. So again, all the very best to you, so that you can, continue what you are doing and you can do even better. And congratulations for your own startup or W equal school. and all those sort of things which you are doing. And thank you so much for joining this conversation, Sumay. I hope that we will get in touch again with something interesting, which you will probably make.
Yeah, before we go, I just want to thank you so much for having me, and to
It's
thank
my pleasure.
the Flutteristas who have invited me to join their wonderful community. And I just want to thank my parents and my sister as well for being really supportive, and Way, our CTO, the Wequel team, and all the families that are taking a chance on what we're doing.